Hello everyone, my name is Dorian Santos and I'll be solving a math problem for you all. The problem at hand would be the square root of 64 over the number 48. Alright, looking at that, you could make your life a little bit simpler by rewriting it in another form, which is equivalent to square root of 64 over the square root of 48. Now you see a numerator and denominator are separate in their own little worlds. So you pick, do the numerator or the denominator, and I'm going to go with the numerator because it's a perfect square. The square root of 64, it's obviously 8, so that's just 8 times 8 is 64, so the square root of 64 would just be 8. Now the bottom, the denominator, it's a little bit more complicated, and the way I do it is a little method that I was taught in elementary school called the prime factorization tree, and that pretty much works this way. You grab your number, in this case would be 48, and you keep breaking it down to find its multiples, so they're common factors. So with that said, 2 times something would give you 48, in this case would be 24. And you follow that pattern, 2 times something gives you 24, which in this case would be 12, and you keep on going. 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 3 is 6. You see how it's, you know, a tree stemming out from 48. From here you find your common numbers. In this case we have a pair, well, pairs of numbers. In this case you have a pair of 2's, another pair of 2's, and a 3 that's not a pair. So with the numbers that aren't paired, you want to keep those numbers inside the radical. So 3 being the only one that doesn't have a pair, you're gonna write that 3 inside the radical, and then these pairs you're going to consider as 1 because 2 times 2, you know, squared, the opposite of a square root, since we're taking the square root, would just be 2, which is why you pair them up. In this case we have one pair of 2 and another pair of 2, so 2 times 2 would be 4. So that would be the number that goes in front of the radical. So square root of 64 over the square root of 48 is the same as reduced to 8 over 4 square root of 3. Alright, now the next step is to simplify your numerator and denominator, and you can see here that 8 over 4 is simply just 2 over square root of 3 because 8 over 4 is just 2 over 1. It's a ratio. Alright, with that said, you're not done yet. You might seem done, but you don't forget to rationalize your denominator, which that means you can't leave a radical sign in the denominator. So to rationalize the denominator, you have to multiply top and bottom by the number in the radical, or the actual radical number. In this case would be multiply top and bottom by square root of 3 over square root of 3, because that's just plain and simple 1 times 1. You know, not really changing the problem, but you do your multiplication and you get multiply across, simple multiplication, 2 square root of 3, let me rewrite that, 2 square root of 3 over square root of 3 times the square root of 3. Well, square root times the square root is just the actual number or variable inside the radical, so that just simplifies to whatever is inside the radicals being 3. And your simplified answer would just be 2 square root of 3 over 3. And that's simplifying the problem square root of 64 over 48. And that's how you do it.